If you can't read this, it's a description of an action that Eric was involved in. It says the second flight of 3 UH-1H helicopters was led by Warrant Officer Eric Kilmer. Due to the intense enemy fire at the designated landing zone, Warrant Officer 1 Kilmer was diverted to a secondary drop-off point. Upon approaching the small clearing, his helicopter began receiving heavy volumes of enemy automatic weapons fire and took several direct hits. During this time, the cockpit windshield was shattered, throwing plexiglass into his face. In addition, he suffered a painful fragmentation wound in his leg. Despite the extremely adverse conditions, Warrant Officer Kilmer continued to brave the hostile barrage and succeeded in landing the ship. His crew of pilot Captain Johnny Hitt, Crew Chief Specialist 4 Richard Davenport, and Door Gunner Specialist 4 David Harris were all wounded in the descent to the landing zone. For this action, Eric Kilmer, my friend, was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Purple Heart. In this room, Rich Westfall served in Vietnam also. I apologize for not having you on the screen. So we have Rich, we have John Benscooter, we have Skip Hart, we have Eric Kilmer, we have Joel Mundy, we have Dennis Connick, we have Ron Means, we have Dan Shipman, we have Steve Allen, we have Richard Turpin, we have George Freeman in this room, all of whom served in the military. Anybody else? Who is it? Mike Hankins. Would you all please stand up and receive our applause? Now that pretty much concludes the formal presentation, but I do have a little bit of footage of us at our senior prom if you want to see it.
No.
This will take me a minute to call up too, so just bear with me, please.
Carol, you think that picture's going to put the drive in? Probably not. Mary, did you go to Lake Michigan the day after the senior prom? Did we all? I think we did.
I think I went.
Wait, Silver Lake. We forgot to say.
Well, I think we went to Benjamin. Yeah, that's where I walked on the yeah, well, I walked.
Remember in school that Monday we had tea bags on our shoulders.
I walked on charcoal, and I had third-degree burns, and I had to go to the hospital.
Myself, Tim Wirt, and
It's terrible.
Diana Hand, getting ready for the senior prom.
No.
My grandmother had an 8mm movie camera, and she was always annoying us with sticking it in our face and all that sort of thing, but my parents borrowed it for senior prom night. So I'm going to kind of fast forward through this so we actually show the moments of the prom. Here we are. This is the dinner before the senior prom. Pete Squibb, Nancy Paula Humke, she still looks beautiful. Diana. There's the Grand March. See Linda Stokesbury there. Call out names if you know who they are. There's my sister. Here's Karen Miller. She's still just as beautiful as she was then. Terry Belgowan. So we actually were alive back then. There I am in my graduation costume, looking alert and alive. Anyway. The reason we're having a reunion right now is because of the untiring efforts of several people to make sure that it happened, and chief among those is the Lord High Supervisor of the reunion, Joyce Newton Savage. Oh. Joyce is the person that spends all the time tracking down, like a bloodhound, all of our classmates, and it's a labor of love. we love our classmates, whether they're here or not, whether they put political content on Facebook or not. We love them. But not all of them seem to want to come to a reunion, and a lot of them just seem to disappear. So Joyce spends a lot of time just tracking down addresses and Googling and doing detective work to figure out where everybody is. And she and Kim Kiefer and Bonnie Ayers handled the entire reunion from the Lansing perspective. And they basically call me up and say it's going to be on Friday, September 16th, and would you show up and make a fool of yourself? And I say, oh, let's want to go. But the reason that this has been billed as the last reunion is because Joyce is taking a well-deserved retirement from all of her Googleicious duties that she has to perform. And it's basically either time to change the reunion or call this the last one, or have somebody else step up to the plate. So I guess this is sort of a little mini business meeting. If anybody has any ideas on what we would like to do from this point on, we could just say we're going to meet the third Saturday in September at some restaurant, and whoever shows up, or we could try to have reunions every 5 years, but have other people more heavily involved in putting them together. So we don't have to make a decision right now, but if anybody has anything to say, including Joyce or Kim or Bonnie, please speak up.
I would really like to see it where it's very casual, and we go possibly to a restaurant, a bar, whatever, and we just all be responsible for our own meals, but set a time of year that possibly would be a good time, and it can float from year to year. Doesn't have to be every 5 years. I don't want to tell you how old we're going to be in 5 years.
One problem is that obviously that list of the people that we showed at the beginning is going to start getting longer quickly. And so the chances that we're going to have to get together are diminishing. And so if you want to have it every year, every 2 years, every 3 years instead of every 5 years, this may be the time to do that. How about next week? Next week. Anyway, like we say, it doesn't necessarily have to be solved tonight, but we want to have people thinking about it. And if you think you'd be willing to step up and do something, please.
I'm not from this class, but I'm from 65 class at Eastern, and every year they go on that Michigan Princess boat that goes down the Grand River, and you just go on there and have your meal, and you can dance and everything. Not very little planning.
That sounds like a real good thing to think about. Yeah, I think so.
I vote we go to Kieran Demmer's place next time.
Yay!
I'll have to see if I can call up to Hawaii if I know.
Well,
and obviously, the less formal and less intricate it is, probably the fewer people are going to travel long distances to come to it. So that's one thing to think about. But we seem to have kind of a core group that comes to every reunion, and then we have other people that come to some of the reunions, and it certainly is, distance is a big factor and so forth. But we're not getting any younger, and if we want to keep in touch with each other, we're going to have to try to make an effort to do that. Anybody have anything else to say about that before we?
I'd just like to give some input. We got a really nice response from Keith Donnelly, and their problem is like what many of us are faced with. Our kids are in different locations than what we are. So he's down in the south, I can't remember where. Anyway, he said that they come back every couple years. So it would be nice to do this like every couple years, and he just let us know when he's coming. Well, other people could do that too. I mean, it doesn't have to be the whole class. I mean, whatever suits everybody. You know, I think that everybody needs to chime in and tell us what you'd like to do. And I'm not really the head of this. Bonnie and Kim have done this for all of the reunions, and they really deserve a big round of applause.
Kim pays the bill.
He's Mr. Moneybags.
By the way, Bonnie,
Yes, I did last reunion. Next week I'll be leaving for 2 weeks from Canada fishing. Thank you.
Bonnie sent me a list of songs to play. We're going to have dance music available when we get done here. And Bonnie gave me a list of songs she wanted to play, and the list was 278 songs. At an average of 3 minutes apiece, that's 14 hours and 20 minutes. So we're going to lock the doors, and you'll get out of here at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Not only that, they were printed. They weren't even written.
It was all
hand
That was
printed.
a labor of love for her, and I didn't have some of the music she wanted.
My little trip down memory lane.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Bonnie was one of the women that I was in love with in high school. And I remember one of the last days of school, I gave her my yearbook, and she said, "Can I keep it overnight?" And I thought, oh boy, she's going to write something really cool there, because I wrote something cool to her. It was like, you know, your teeth are like the stars, they come out every night, that sort of thing. And the next day she came and gave me my yearbook, and I opened it with bated breath. Did you hold that, please, Eric? Opened it to the first page. And I thought, this is going to be so cool, because she's going to tell me how much she loves me and wants me and all that sort of thing. She had it for like 36 hours. So here's what she wrote. Schnei, to a great guy. Be good and don't let be too mean. Wish I could write more, but space and time is limited. Signed, Bonnie. Thanks a lot, Bonnie. Crying out loud.
Are we roasting her?
That's basically all that I have, but let's think about what we want to do in the future, and we're in touch on Facebook, so think about it, and you know, I'm hoping if we have 60 people here for our 50th reunion, we'll have 120 people here for our 100th reunion.
God forbid.
Yes.
My 2 cents as a longtime committee member is to go along with what Joyce said about whatever goes on from here is something that's very casual, and, you know, email can be sent out, and it can be, you know, a picnic, a patio party somewhere. This September date seems to have gotten a really good response.
You could
people
come up to
are,
my house and shoot machine guns if you
you
want.
know.
Marissa, you sure you're not going to do it? Are you sure you want to go to his place?
Very casual. Everybody buys their own meal, you know, it's not reserving a place and having to collect all Kim's money. My 2 cents is I agree with Joyce.
Well, and I will keep up on the Facebook, the WHS 1966 page. We might move it to its own page where, you know, but that would involve some work, so maybe we won't. Okay.
Look at me.
But I'd like to maintain the email list, and we have paper listing on the table there when you entered in. If you could check that we have the right email for you. If you do not have email or are not on Facebook, we need to make sure that your address is correct. But our mission is not to do that anymore. We would really like to do, you know, the email or the Facebook. It's just far easier to reach you. So, and that's my 22 cents worth.
Any other business?
Oh, yes. When you leave, there's a box back there by the door. If you could take your name tag out if you'd like it, but if you could put the badge holders there, that'd be really great. O'Rafferty's having their reunion in 2 weeks, and they'll need those because my husband graduated from O'Rafferty, and we split the cost on this. So.
That's cool.
Okay, in that case, once again, we're so glad that you showed up, and
Let's take a picture.
we need to have a picture before anybody leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So would all the classmates please gather up here, and we'll need a few volunteers among the spouses and significant others to take pictures of us.
That's good.